American soldiers spotted something eerie on the sea. A ship was quietly approaching, but nothing showed up on radar. Given the strange situation, the captain immediately ordered the comms officer to identify friend or foe. But no matter how Cassie called, there was never an answer. Sullivan guessed it might be the relief ship, but the captain decisively pressed the alarm button, telling Baines to stand by on deck. Despite their doubts, the soldiers followed orders and turned the cannon. The unidentified vessel kept getting closer, and everyone's hearts were in their throats. They had been stationed at this outpost for 2 years, having endured years of severe storms. The watchtower was dilapidated and the reactor had a minor leak during a huge tsunami. They had to take weekly iodine baths to fight the radiation, but what bothered them more wasn't that. The storm swept away their supplies, so they survived on limited rations of stinky fish. This went on for over 3 months. Now that a ship finally appeared, they had to act fast. The captain pulled out his sidearm and ordered Sullivan to scout alone.
Alone?
Sullivan's mind was instantly filled with 1,000 curses. Despite being very reluctant, there were only 4 of them at the outpost. Cassie was on comms, Baines was on the gun, so it could only be him. He couldn't expect the old captain to risk himself. However, as he got closer to that ship, the eerie atmosphere grew even thicker. Although the hull was scarred and rusty, it still sailed steadily across the sea. But after Sullivan looked around, he didn't see a single crew member.
Hello?
With no response, Sullivan braced himself and boarded the deck. This was their only hope of escape. To be safe, he turned off his walkie-talkie. But what he saw on the ship stunned him. Spider webs on the teacup showed it was a real ghost ship. Yet 4 neatly folded uniforms in the cabin proved it was the relief ship for friendly forces. Still, everyone had vanished. Fortunately, the food supplies were still there, and Sullivan, who hadn't had a good meal in months, started eating right away. He didn't know that because he hadn't replied, the captain thought he'd had an accident, so the only choice was to destroy the other ship. But since it was at a cannon range, they had to use the ultimate weapon, which needed both his and Cassie's keys at the same time. Cassie disagreed with the captain, but she knew what would happen if she disobeyed. After hesitating, she handed it over. The captain put in both keys, started the program, and quickly got the random launch code. Cassie wanted to speak, but the captain dismissed her. Before confirming, he contacted Sullivan again. Sullivan, enjoying his meal, finally remembered to report back.
No one here. All clear.
After getting the response, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Later, Sullivan used the speedboat to tow the freighter back, but the captain, after shutting down the nuclear weapon, didn't give the key back to Cassie. She protested but was dismissed again because the situation was unclear. Baines, the outpost's chief technician, found the ghost ship's engine had been out for months, so where did it drift from? There was plenty of food, but the crew had vanished. To figure out what happened, the captain downloaded the ship's log, then took out the sea chart and mapped the freighter's course point by point using the coordinates, but the results shocked him. Meanwhile, Baines wasn't idle. He boarded overnight to keep checking the damaged engine, only to be caught by Sullivan. Desperate, he revealed his discovery. The ship's engine could be fixed. That meant they could finally leave this place. Excited, Sullivan immediately told the good news to the sleeping Cassie. The two had developed feelings for each other during those dull years. Sullivan dreamed of life back on the mainland, but Cassie wasn't interested. She knew the captain would never agree to leave. Early the next morning, they started working. Baines' skills were impressive. He successfully repaired the freighter's engine, but as the two walked out excitedly, they were caught by the captain waiting on deck. He refused to let them leave and ordered Baines to dismantle every part. No one leaves until the relief soldiers arrive. But their 2-year term was already up. If they didn't leave before the next storm, the freighter would surely be swept away. Time was running out. As they discussed a mutiny, the captain appeared with Cass. After careful consideration, he decided to split him up. The rig needs at least 2 people to run, so the captain sent Sullivan and Baines back for help, while Cass volunteered to stay and wait for the relief. Sullivan was confused. He found Cass and asked why she wouldn't go back with him. Then she told him, "I don't love you, Sullivan." That's exactly what you want to hear, right? You're a human necessity. Sullivan was speechless and left. As they packed, the alarm blared again. Radar found another unknown vessel. Since it was close, the captain ordered them to sink it. Fire. Nis, reload. Left 2. 1. It's heading away. Sullivan realized and ran to the dock. The freighter was gone. Their target was their only hope of leaving. The captain let it drift away on purpose to trap them. Baines snapped, even with a gun in his face. But the captain fired anyway. Sullivan had no choice but to obey. He aimed the cannon at the freighter. With a blast, fire erupted on the sea. Hope of returning home was gone. Baines ignored the warning and attacked. Cass knocked the captain out with an extinguisher. They locked him in the storeroom. Cass got the nuclear keys back. Baines wanted to kill him, but Sullivan stopped him. He didn't understand why the captain did it. The captain said he had no choice. The ship's track showed it arrived months ago, but it changed course 16 kilometers from the tower. He suspected the coordinates were tampered with. To protect the nukes, he had to sink it. Sullivan didn't believe him. Meanwhile, a drunken Baines was choking Cass. Cass fought back, but he stole the keys. He went to the control room to blow up the tower. He'd lost all hope. Sullivan rushed in to stop him. At the last second of entering the code, Baines stopped. I forgot the last number. As Cass took the keys, Sullivan found the captain had escaped through the window. Where could he go in this vast sea? To prevent a revenge attack, Sullivan searched the captain's room and found the coordinates. Seeing the ship's route, he realized the captain might be right. A new storm was coming. Trash washed up, their only source of supplies. Baines and Cass went to scavenge. Xiao He stayed at the watchtower, using the winch to see if he could catch a big fish or two, but to his surprise, an arm appeared in the net. He pulled the body out of the water, only to find it was the missing captain. The bullet hole in his forehead was shocking. It seemed the captain was silenced by a mole. Recalling the bald man's unusual behavior, he concluded he must be an enemy agent hiding nearby. But this meant Lachi was in danger. To confirm his suspicions, Zhao He immediately went to the archives and discovered the bald man suffered from severe intermittent mania. However, due to his superb repair skills, he was hired despite failing the background check. Zhao He felt a chill down his spine. He went to the deck to look out, and sure enough, only one person was on the returning boat. But to his surprise, the one who returned was his ex-girlfriend, Lacey.
Sorry, I tried to stop him.
He climbed up across the plastic. He won't come back.
Although Lassie's acting was flawless, Xiao He seemed to already have the answer. He checked the captain's notebook again, turning to the date of the supply ship accident 3 months ago, and then found the duty log for that day. The person on duty that night was Lassie. After a night of fierce struggle, Xiao He used his skills to get the 2 keys. After obtaining the dynamic password, Xiao He started the self-destruct sequence. Seeing her plan exposed, she had no choice but to tell the truth. It turned out she once had a happy family, but due to the war, her parents and brother all died. For revenge, she volunteered for duty at the outpost. After spotting the supply ship on radar, she removed the beacon device from the tower, luring them off their normal course. Hello? Hello? The others thought Lossie was a sentry coming to meet them, but they were met with ruthless bullets. She did this to stay at the tower and wait for a chance to seize control of the nuclear weapons. When she learned the captain might have discovered her plan, she cut the supply ship loose overnight to frame him. Upon getting the 2 keys, the captain no longer had any value. She didn't expect to be seen through by Zhao He in the end, failing at the last step. By now, the self-destruct sequence was nearing its end, but the expected explosion didn't happen. It turned out that at some point, the bald man had tampered with the program. Moreover, if the nuke were detonated, the resulting tsunami would destroy the entire human world. So he completely erased the activation program. But while the outpost lost its deterrent effect, it would also trigger a large-scale war. So no matter which side the next wave comes from, they can't know the secret. Thus, the two decided to live together, however reluctantly.